Hello students of St. Michael's class 12, and this is the third class of the first chapter of accountancy, introduction to partnership. Let's do a quick revision of what we had done in the last class. We had done that what we had studied, that what are the accounts that are to be prepared for the partnership records. For the partnership records, we have to prepare profit and loss appropriation account, capital accounts, and balance sheet. Next, we had studied the format of profit and loss appropriation account, and I had made you understand each and every item of the profit and loss appropriation account, such as transfer to reserves, interest on capital, or salaries to partners. Lastly, we had studied that what is to be done if there is no partnership deed or agreement, and this is an important topic for the practical problems to be solved. Now, coming to today's class, there is a short theory portion which we'll do first, and then we'll move on to the practical aspect of the chapter. So this theory it says that is the registration of a firm compulsory. So in the previous class I had told you that the registration of partnership firm with the registrar of firms is not compulsory, but it is optional or advisable. So why is it advisable? It is advisable because there are certain benefits which the firm with which the partnership firm can enjoy if it gets its firm registered with the registrar. Now copy first point, second point, third point, fourth point, but don't copy the last point because it needs some correction. So you have to copy the first 4 points, and I'll also explain each and every point to you. So the first point says that any partner cannot file a suit against other partner. So if there are two partners in a firm A and B, now if A wants to file a case on B, he cannot do it because the firm is not registered. The second point says that A, B, C all together they make a firm. What do? They want to file a case on C. Obviously C doesn't want to file a case upon himself, but the other partners want to file a case on C. They cannot do it because the firm is not registered. In the same way, if C wants to file a case on the partnership firm, he cannot do it. Next thing, if there is a firm with partners A, B, and C, and D is a third party. Now, if D commits a fraud against the partnership firm, then what happens? The partnership firm cannot file a case against any third party. However, if the firm commits a fraud with D, means the firm has betrayed D, suppose it has taken any advance and has not supplied the goods or given the services, then what happens? Then the third party, they can file a suit against the partnership firm. So that is the mistake in the last point, that a third party can file a suit against the partnership firm. So it won't be cannot, it will be can. A third party can file a suit against the firm. So this was a short theory portion which can come for 2 to 4 marks. Now coming to the next topics of today. In the last class we had seen that how interest on capital is to be calculated. In this class we learned that how will interest on drawings be calculated. Okay, so there are some things that you need to keep in mind before calculating the interest on drawings. First of all, a rate should be mentioned. Right, if in the sums there is no rate given, you cannot assume the interest rate and charge it accordingly. Right, there will be a specific rate of interest given in the partnership agreement. The rate can be 6%, it can be 10% or 15% based on the partnership agreement. Okay, so if the rate will be present, then only we'll provide interest on drawings, otherwise we will not provide it. Second point is that interest on drawings will be charged for the period between the date of drawings and the date between closing of books. Okay, so understand this with the help of an example. What happens that suppose A is a partner in the partnership firm, and what does he do? He makes a drawing of 50,000 rupees. Okay, 50,000 rupees, he made a drawing of 50,000 rupees on 1st of July 2019. Now, I hope you remember the concept of accounting year. The accounting year consists of 12 months, which can be from January, which can start from January, or it can start from April. So let's assume that the accounting year is starting from 1st January 2019 to 31st December 2019. So what does A do? A makes a drawing of 50,000 rupees and he withdraws the money on which date? On 1st July. So if A has withdrawn the money on 1st July, will he pay the interest for a whole year? Think logically. If A has withdrawn money in the middle of the year, why will he pay the interest for the whole year? He will pay the interest for which period? He will only pay the interest for July to December. Okay, we have taken July because he has withdrawn the money in the 1st of July, therefore we have included July also. So July till December, how many months? July, August, September, October, November, December. So 6 months, right? 6 months. So suppose the rate of interest is 10%, suppose, and we know the amount. So how will we calculate interest on drawings? I hope you get short form. So 50,000, okay, this is the amount of interest into, sorry, this is the amount of drawings into rate of interest 10%, right? And now for how many months? For 6 months only, not for the whole year. If the drawings was for whole year, means if the drawings were made on 1st January 2019, we would simply calculate it for the whole year. But since the drawings has been made on 1st July, therefore we'll calculate it only for 6 months. So 50,000 into 10%, 5,000 into 6 by 12 comes to 2,500. So this will be the amount of interest on drawings which will be credited in the PL appropriation account. So I hope this part is clear. Now the other situation which can be asked in the exam is that A has simply withdrawn 40,000. Okay, so in the sums you have not been given much information about when has A withdrawn this amount, but they have simply given that A has withdrawn 40,000 and the rate of interest of drawings is 10% per annum. Now how will you calculate the interest? Now what we have to do is follow the steps. So 40,000 is the amount of drawings made by A and the rate of interest is 10%. So till here I hope it's very clear. 40,000 into 10%, right? Now the next very critical and important step which most of us make mistake in is this part, that whenever you are not given the month or the date of drawings, what you have to do, you will have to divide it by 2 or write here 6 by 12. Right, so there is a difference between the previous one and this one. In this illustration, A had withdrawn 50,000 in July, that is why we took 6 by months. Suppose if he didn't withdraw the money in July, he withdrew the money in October. He withdrew 50,000 in 1st October. Then what would be the number of months? It would be 3 by 12. So the answer would vary, 50,000 into 10% into 3 by 12. But in this case, what is given in this case, they haven't given the date of drawing. So what we'll do, we'll write 40,000 into 10% into 6 by 12 or simply divided by 12. So 40,000 into 10%, 4,000. 4,000 divided by 2 is equal to 2,000. So 2,000 will be the amount of interest on drawings. So that was the second illustration. The third situation or illustration can be that A withdraw 2,000 per month for 12 months. Right, what did A do? What did A do? A withdrew rupees 2,000 per month for 12 months, and they have not mentioned whether it is withdrawn in the starting of the month, middle of the month, or the end of the month. They just gave 2000 per month for 12 months. Now how will we calculate the rate of for the interest on drawings? So the rate of interest, let's keep it simple, 10%. Now the interest on drawings shall be what would it be? So 2000 per month, right? 2000 has been withdrawn per month. So for the whole year, what is the amount withdrawn? 2000 into 12, right? 24,000. So we write 2000 into 12 first. Okay, now the rate of interest, 10%. Okay, now we don't know that when has he withdrawn. We just know that he has withdrawn 2000 rupees each month for 12 months. So what we do, we write here 6 by 12. Okay, now why does this happen? Why do we calculate the number of months as 6? So follow this table for understanding how it works. So suppose A has withdrawn 2000 per month, right? Interest on drawing 6%, whatever. So in January he withdrew 2000. So from January till December, right? So if he withdraws in January, he has to pay interest on this 2000. Follow my cursor. The interest on this 2000 will be calculated for whole 12 months because he withdrew it in January. Right, now the amount which is withdrawn in February 2000, what we understand is that he again withdrew 2000 for his expenses in February. So on this 2000 he'll have to pay the interest on drawings for 11 months, right? For 11 months from February to December. Again in March he withdrew 2000. So Jan Feb gone. So in March when he withdrew 2000, he'll have to pay the interest on drawings for 10 months, right? So it goes on and on, and last we have 78 months. Now if you divide 78 by 6, you will get some figure of 6.5, but we take it as 6 months, right? When we divide 78 by 12, we get 6.5, but we take it as 6 months, and therefore we write 6 by 12 while calculating the interest. This is just the beginning of interest on drawing explanation. We have a huge portion to learn about interest on drawings that will take at least 2 classes. So this is just the introduction, and this is just to tell you, whenever they do not mention the date of drawings, what we'll do, we'll just add 6 by 12. Okay, so with the help of the explained part above, let's solve some illustrations. Ram has withdrawn rupees 4000 per month for 12 months. The rate of interest is 10%. So Ram has withdrawn 4000 per month and the rate of interest is 10%. Right, rate of interest 10%. So how will it be calculated? Per month means 4000 into 12. Okay, and for the rate of interest is 10%. And lastly, what we'll add? We'll add, multiply 6 by 12. So 4000 into 12, 48,000, into 10%, 4800, into 6 by 12 is equal to 2400. So the interest on drawings will be 2400. Now the second illustration says that Ram has withdrawn 40,000 during the year and they have not mentioned the date. The rate of interest on drawings is 12%. So 40,000, and for the whole year, right? Not per month. So we will not multiply it by 12. It has been withdrawn only one time. So 40,000 into rate of interest is 12% into 6 by 12. Why 6 by 12? Because that is the rule. If they have not mentioned the date, we'll have to multiply it by 6 by 12. So it will be 2400. In the last example, Ram had withdrawn 20,000 in the beginning of January and rupees 30,000 in the beginning of October, and rate of interest is 6%. So according to the example, A has withdrawn rupees 20,000 in January and 30,000 in October. So the 20,000 which has been withdrawn by A is outstanding for the whole year, means for 12 months. However, the 30,000 which had been withdrawn by him on in the month of October, that has been outstanding only for how many months? 3 months. So if you withdraw a money at the month of October, you won't pay the interest for the whole year, right? You will only pay the interest for the month which is left in the year. So he pays interest for 30,000 on. Okay, I'm sorry if you heard any noise from the background. So 20,000 will be interest on 20,000 will be calculated for the whole 12 months. However, interest on 30,000 will be calculated only for 3 months. The rest of the problem is quite easy. So let us calculate it. So the amount is 20,000 into what is the rate of interest? 6% into 6% for how many months? For 12 months. So if you are calculating interest for whole 12 months, you don't need to write anything. You just calculate the rate of interest. Okay, we'll calculate it. Now for this, for amount withdrawn in October, the amount withdrawn was 30,000. So 30,000 into 6% for how many months? Only 3 months. So 3 by 12. Okay, so 1200 for the 20,000 and 450 for the 30,000. Okay, now how did 450 come? I hope I don't have to repeat myself. Still I am repeating because it was withdrawn in the month of October, so only for 3 months, right? So 1200 plus 450 is equal to 1650. So the total amount of interest on drawings that will be charged in the PL appropriation account is 1650. Okay, so I hope that the basics of interest on drawings is clear to you guys. So I was going to do an illustration of a full sum on PL appropriation account, but unfortunately we won't be able to complete it today, so we won't start it today. But what we can do is we can discuss it. So illustration 1, A, B and C are partners in a firm. We have to prepare the PL appropriation account. Profit sharing ratio not mentioned in the partnership deed. So if the profit sharing ratio is not mentioned in the partnership deed, what we'll do, the profit sharing ratio will be equal, right? Whatever the profit will be calculated, it will be distributed equally among the partners. Next, the information on capital is given. The capital of the partners is given, that A has invested a capital of 60,000, B 70 and C 80,000. Now why has this information been given? For the calculation, this information has been given for the calculation of interest on capital. Now the interest on capital has been given at 10%. Now for each and every line in the sums, you will not have to know that is it mentioned in the partnership deed or not. If they have mentioned the rate of interest, means they have mentioned it in the partnership deed or agreement. If there was no partnership agreement, then it would be clearly said to you in the starting of the sums that there is no partnership deed. Okay, so assuming that there is partnership deed, therefore interest on capital will be provided and it will be debited to the profit and loss appropriation account. Next, the drawings by the partners are given and the interest on drawings is given. So we'll calculate the interest on drawings. Here, if you look, we don't have date. We don't have the date of interest on drawings. So we'll calculate it only for 6 months. Next, we have salary and commission payable. So this will be charged to the, it will be debited to the profit and loss appropriation account. And lastly, they have given us information on the net profit. This will be credited to the PL appropriation account in the starting of the sums. So in the next class, we'll solve these sums. If you are able to solve these sums, you can go ahead. There is no restrictions. Otherwise, we'll do it in the next class. Thank you so much. And for any queries of any kind, if you find difficulty in understanding today's class or any portion, you can email me at this email address, and you also have to send me your homework. I believe I have not given any homework today. So that's it for today. Thank you so much.